I live in Nigeria, a life not too dissimilar to that which other people live in the developing countries. What if I told you that even if you lived to be 80 years old, your actual productive lifespan may be not more than 5 years? Shocking, isn't it? Some people who are already quite old and who feel satisfied with their achievements in life may wonder what gibberish I'm talking about. Just hold your peace and stay with me. The truth is that whatever you have achieved in life so far, you could have done by far better had man designed the realities of living in this realm to be less cumbersome. There is what I call the GDP conundrum. There is a chronological lifespan, and there is what I call a productive lifespan. Your chronological lifespan is the total number of years you may live, while your productive lifespan is the number of those years that you spend to create value for yourself and humanity. Let me illustrate the productive lifespan by hypothetically linking it to the per capita gross domestic product, GDP, of a country. The GDP per capita is the economic value of all the goods and services produced by the average person in the country in 1 year. I read that Canada and Australia posted the highest GDP per capita in 2012, rated as being more than $102,000, followed by the USA. Nigeria's GDP per capita in 2012 is reported to be in the range of $1,600 to $3,200, meaning that the average total wealth each Nigerian, and perhaps the average citizen of the developing countries, generated for humanity in the whole of 2012, at best about 400,000 Nigerian naira, compared to a Canadian's 16 million naira. That has to be true, and I will show you how much time the average Nigerian actually devotes to that effort in a typical lifetime, and it will shock you. The Nigerian figure does not come to me as a surprise at all, seeing that we are basically a talking, time-wasting, and product-consuming nation. If there was a measure for how much the nations talk on phone, Nigeria will probably top Canada on that one. Wasteful talking continues to deal devastating blows to production. Whereas one person can get cracking on a piece of work, it takes two people to engineer talk, one talking and the other listening, both wasting precious time. The GDP is a capture of the average performance of a people across the entire population. In reality, individual performances vary depending on personal attributes of attitude and character, disposition, education, access to technology, dedication and commitment. Given similar circumstances, it is these personal attributes that set one person apart from another. Therefore, if you are going to leave a mark, you must determine ab initio to make a difference, whatever the prevailing circumstances. You must decide whether you want to flow with the tide or chart a different course. I take lessons from biblical genealogies. Biblical genealogies reveal a lot about this matter. You may live very long, but in the end, it is what impact you make that gives relevance and meaning to your long life. Biblical genealogies fascinate me a lot, not because they are interesting to read, but because of the relevance or otherwise of the lives of the men and women they capture. The truth is that Bible readers dislike reading these extremely boring passages and often skip them because of the colorlessness of the majority of the characters woven into the accounts. Incidentally, and quite amusingly, the colorless performers come with equally colorless and difficult names. Their names sound as if they were primed to fail from the beginning. It is a serious matter. My fascination comes from waiting to see when the drab mention of names will change to a more gripping account, usually instigated by one person whose life breaks the monotonous rendition of generational mediocrities. The Bible would pause at the mention of that person's name and briefly tell their positive contribution before continuing with the remainder of the mediocre performers. We all are characters in our family's genealogies. When the history of your family generation is written, what kind of mention will your name get? Will your name be chained in series with other non-performers? Or will there be a pause to highlight your positive achievements and impact? Will you be a chain breaker or a chain keeper? The kind of mention you will get from history is largely determined by how you spend your time every day, the crucial factor that determines your valuable or productive lifespan. Let's unravel the productive lifespan. Now, let us try to recreate an average Nigerian's daily life pattern and from it derive their productive lifespan. This analysis may not be inapplicable to you wherever you live and may sound humorous, almost like laughing over a serious matter, but it is a sad truth. For the purpose of this analysis, let us assume that our average chronological lifespan is 80 years. Now, I do realize that many people never actually live to be this old, and this further underscores the correctness of the picture I am about to paint. Weekends and the barren teenage years. On the average, we do not get to be economically productive until about age 18 or so. You must discount this from your chronological age. This means you have 62 economically active years left. Note that we never really deliver anything of economic value on Sundays, a popular work-free day around the world. Some realistic persons might even argue that we discount some Saturdays as well. That should take away 14% of those economically active adult years, leaving us with 53 years. The cost of sleep. Next, some experts suggest that the amount of sleep needed by the average adult to stay healthy is 6 hours. Let us assume that this is the case for you as well, even though I know that some of us sleep way more time than this. This means that probably 25% of your adult life is spent sleeping. That takes away another 15 from your 62 years, leaving you with about 38 years to prove your economic usefulness. Not too bad so far for a lifetime of 80 years, I think. Now, the cost of talk. My wife thinks the average Nigerian spends about 250 naira daily on telephone calls. That easily translates conservatively to a quarter of an hour on calls made. If we double that to cover calls received as well, they spend about half an hour each day just talking on phone. Let me posit, without any fear of contradiction, that given our extremely garrulous nature, we talk away at least another 1 hour each day in face-to-face chats and extended greetings. Nigerians like to ask about every single member of the family in their greetings. Put together, our total daily investment in talk is conservatively 1.5 hours, eroding your productive life years by another 4 years if you are a Nigerian. That leaves you with about 34 economically productive years. Not bad yet. The cost of television and internet addiction. Since we are extremely computer literate and very internet savvy, how much time do you think we spend each day messaging, Facebooking, tweeting, and doing other unproductive internet stuff? 30 minutes? 1 hour? 2? Let me be lenient with you and say we spend only an hour. What about the amount of time you spend in front of your television in the evenings, watching the Premier League, African magic, comedy, and fashion shows, before switching over to CNN for the negative and heartbreaking news of the day? How much time do you spend reading useless stuff? You know what? You spend about 2 hours. Your internet surfing, television watching, and other addictions knock off some 3 hours from your day. Another 13% of your economically productive adult years go into the dustbin of time. A whole 8 years of your lifespan. That leaves you with about 26 economically productive years. Still not bad, come to think of it. Hair distractions. Ladies, how much time do you spend doing your hair? Guys, how much time do you spend shaving? Let us use the ladies as a benchmark and assume twice a week at 2 hours each. That is 4 hours each week, which calculates to 2% of your adult years or 1 year of your productive lifetime. So that leaves you with 25 economically productive years. The cost of devotions and dressing. What about daily devotions and getting dressed up for the day's business? Again, let us use women as a benchmark. They spend something like 2 hours to get bathed and dressed up every day. Did I hear you say too little? No. Let's leave it at that for the sake of the men, but add another hour for devotions. That is another 13% of 8 unproductive years. What remains for you to prove you were not created an economic waste is 17 years. Still not too bad. Or what do you think? School runs. But sadly, we are not done yet with our time bashing. Because our public transportation system is yet at stone age in this evolution, there are the inevitable school runs to be personally undertaken just past midday. Easily another valuable 1.5 to 2 hours each day, or 4 years off the adult productive years, leaving you with just 13 years. The time cost of eating. In case you think 13 productive years out of your entire life are available for you to do something tangible economically, just don't celebrate yet. What about the time we spend cooking and eating? Let's skip breakfast and work with lunch and dinner only. You know what? We burn another 2 hours or more daily to gratify our appetites. That is a princely 5 years spent cooking and eating, leaving us with a net balance of 8 years to work and create real value. If you ask me, that is still more than enough time for each of us to change our world. I mean, if every single adult put in only 8 years or 10% of their lifetime diligently working and adding real value, the earth will be a type of heaven. Really, it will still not be bad at all if the time killing ended there, but it doesn't. Because we eat and drink too much, that again takes its toll on our productivity. Our mental and creative abilities wind down after every meal. We often doze off each day under the weight of food we carry in us and dash off regularly to the toilet to offload some of that rubbish. These also take time, something like an hour each day or 2 years of the productive time, leaving you with only 6 years in which to convince God He didn't waste His time creating you. You may laugh at this unflattering analysis, but clearly you can see what a serious matter this is becoming. Nevertheless, I still don't think that your economic performance is bad until you consider the next inevitable indulgence: the cost of exercising and working out. We spend time to exercise and work out to keep in shape, largely because we eat too much and indulge in other harmful habits. At least 30 minutes a day is what experts recommend, and that is what you do by either working or running about aimlessly or sweating yourself out in some gym somewhere. That is another unfortunate erosion of at least 1 year, leaving you with a productive lifetime of 5 years, a mere 6% of your entire 80-year lifespan. Now, because we have become a time-blowing people, we have unwittingly turned exercising to live long into a futile and valueless endeavor. Of what use is a prolonged life when we only live to make negligible or no economic impact? I am afraid to be entirely honest with you, lest you accuse me of crying wolf or being a chronic pessimist. Otherwise, I should rope in all the time you spend admiring every woman that passes by, drinking coffee, drinking at the bar, partying, quarreling and fighting, driving to and from work and getting stuck in poorly managed traffic, sleeping on duty and pretending to work when you are not working, going to the bank and ATMs, grappling with frequent power outages, analyzing society's numerous social and political problems in meaningless debates, and attending to myriad other unfortunate human accidents created by our wanton lifestyles. That should obviously put your productive lifetime in the negative, meaning that sometimes we humans are so wasteful that we are actually living on borrowed time. Do you finally see how this innocuous matter has become a very serious matter? With her citizens confronted daily by so many distractions, is it any surprise that Nigeria's GDP is so low? If your life was an economic investment, and I think it is, and you were God, what will you do to an investment that returns only 6% over a lifetime? I will terminate it. Fortunately for us, God is merciful. He bides his time so that we can change our ways. This video is an extract from my book, Laughing Over Serious Matters. Order a copy for yourself. And please do subscribe to this channel. See you next time.